Okay, so we're going to start on Unit 8A today. This unit, there is going to be an 8A, and then the next unit we do is going to be 8B. It used to be that this was just really, really long, so we split it up. This unit is going to be pretty short, so we're actually going to finish everything this week, and we will test next week already. Okay, so today we're going to start on simplify and analyze. Simplify and analyze expressions with exponents. So basically this whole unit is going to be all about exponents, and that's going to lead us into the next unit, which is about something called logarithms. Those of you that have seen those before know just how much fun they are. Okay, so first thing we're just going to ask you to do is just simplify. So if you simplify for number 1, and I'm actually going to write out 5 different examples all at the same time, and then we're basically just going to compare answers. Okay, so you're going to write out 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You guys should have enough time today that you should be able to finish your work in class. Okay, you shouldn't even have to take anything home today. So first one you're going to simplify is 4 to the third. Number 2 is 4 to the 0 power. 3 is 4 to the negative 3. 1/4 to the third, and 1/4 to the negative third. Make sure you're writing this down, please. So when you first learned how to do exponents, okay, you would learn something like this. So this isn't 4 times 3, it's 4 multiplied by itself 3 times. Okay, you probably already have that memorized, but what is 4 times 4 times 4? 64. Right? If you didn't know that one, there is a chart in the back of the room that already has most of these filled out for you. Okay, so 64. That one's fairly simple. Okay, how about 4 to the 0? What is anything to the 0 power?
0.
No, anything to the 0 power equals 1. Okay, so write yourself a note. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. Yes.
What about 0 to the 0 power?
Still equal to 1. Anything to the 0 power is equal to 1. Okay. If you have issues, if you'd like to find out like the sign or the way to prove that, you could learn that. You'll learn that in calculus, basically. Yes.
Could it ever be negative 1? Like, what if it's like negative?
No. Okay, that's a good question. No, nothing. No exponent will ever give you a negative answer. Okay, there is no exponents that ever give you a negative answer. Okay, nothing will turn a positive to being a negative. Okay, you are right there. Okay, how about 4 to the negative 3 power? Okay, a negative power does what? It flips, right? So you make it a fraction, then you move the opposite side. So anything attached to a negative exponent moves to the opposite side. So that becomes 1 over 4 to the third. And we already know that 4 to the third was equal to what? 64. So this becomes 1 over 64 as an answer. Okay, so you're probably going to want to write yourself a note that negative exponents make fractions. Okay, negative exponents make fractions, not negative answers. Okay, negative exponents make fractions, not negative answers. Okay, there is nothing that's going to give you a negative answer for these. Okay, how about 1/4 to the 3rd power? You could write this out 3 times, so 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4. Or you could see this as a distribute problem, so the exponent of 3 could go to both the top and the bottom. In either case, 1 times 1 times 1, or 1 to the 3rd power equals what? 1. over 4 to the third is 64. Okay, so hopefully these should be really basic. Okay, we're just looking at the different things, how fractions are changed by exponents, how negative exponents change things. Okay, and then the last one here for number 5, if you distribute this, that would give you 1 to the negative 3 over 4 to the negative 3 power. Then both negatives switch sides. If you flip sides, that gives you 4 to the third over 1 to the third. 4 to the third is 64. You don't really need to write the denominator. If you write over 1, that's fine, but it's not absolutely necessary. Okay, so first part of what you're doing today is all just about exponents. Okay, looking at what negative exponents do, looking at what positive exponents do to both whole numbers and fractions. Okay, next thing we're going to do is for number 6, I would like you to write 16 using base 4. Okay, so we're going to talk a lot about bases and exponents. Okay, so bases and exponents. So basically 16 is equal to 4 to what power? 4 to what power equals 16? 4 to the second. Okay, pretty simple. And on your homework, you're not going to have to write out the words. I just want you to write out stuff like this. So write 16 using base 4. All I want to see is like 16 equals 4 to the second. Okay, then same thing. I'd like you to write 16, but this time I'd like you to use base 2. Write 16 using base 2. So some of you might already know that 16 is equal to 2 to what power? The 4th power. Okay. If you didn't know that, you could figure out what you do know. You know that 16 is equal to 4 to the second, and you could use that. Okay. 2 to what power equals 4? 2 to the second. Then raised to the second, what do you do when you have power to a power? Do you add them or multiply them? Multiply them. Okay, so this would become 2 to the 4th power. Okay, this one, it would be the same thing if you added or multiplied 2 2's, but the actual rule is multiply. Okay, so just make sure that you can write different write different numbers using different bases. And then the last thing we're going to do today is going to be some true or false. So for number 7, true or false. You are going to have to show a little bit of work on this. Okay, given x to the n power, where x is greater than 0 and n is less than 0. If you are given that x to the n, where x is greater than 0 and n is less than 0, then x to the n is a negative value. Let me turn that down just a little bit, please. Now, this is one of the most confusing things about this entire unit, and it really doesn't need to be. Okay? All you have to do is just plug things in. So here, if I know that x is greater than 0, give me a value that x could equal. What's a number greater than 0?
1.
Let's not use 1. Let's use a little bit bigger number.
2.
2, okay. So if we say x is 2 and n is equal to, give me a number less than 0.
Negative 3.
-3. Okay? Then let's actually figure out x to the n power. So x to the n would be equal to, what's your x value? 2. What's your n value? -3. What is 2 to the -3rd power? What does that become? 1 over 2 to the 3rd, which is what? 1 over 8. Is this a negative value? No, it's not a negative value, so that tells you what? It's false, okay? This is not negative, so it's false. So all you're doing on these types of questions is finding numbers that satisfy the statements, plugging it in, and then saying if it's true or false, basically. Okay, on the homework for these, you guys are only doing 15 questions. I'm going to give you a new packet today. When you have ones like this, all I really want to see is I just want to see the math work. You don't have to write out all the problems. Okay, you don't have to write out all the words. These are also multiple choice. I will not accept just letter answers. Okay, I need to see some sort of work. Okay, so see where x is equal to something, y is equal to a different number, and you actually worked it out. Okay, just A, B, C, D is not going to work for this. Anyone have questions? Oh, yours are good?